on the payload adapter. After transfer to the berth on the 27th, it was hoisted onto the launcher on the 30th and encapsulated on the cylinder and fairing on the 31st of May. The Ariane launch readiness review held on Monday authorized the beginning of the final chronology with the launch vehicle transfer to the launch pad in order to be ready to launch today.
Already back in Jupiter, and look at that beautiful Ariane 5 ECA standing on the pad, and what's even more beautiful, just to its right, we are all green right now. At under 4 minutes to go to launch, everything is green, and again in Kourou, green means go. Look at how the weather has cleared up. You know, I'm a NASCAR fan. They'd call this Bill France weather, clearing up for the launch this evening. And we never had a problem with weather tonight. It was yesterday that weather was the issue, but it looks like we're moving rapidly now toward the 3-minute mark in the countdown. Again, history tonight being made with this historic heavy payload, over 10,730 kilos. And again, made up of EchoStar with 6,300 kilos, EchoStar 18 for Dish Network, and BRISAT at 3,540. The remainder, the Silda and the support structures. Again, hats off to the engineers here at the Space Base who have worked so hard to squeeze out additional performance from the Ariane 5 ECA. All of the engineers involved with it. We set a record back on VA 212 back in February 2013, and tonight we break that record by 337 kilos, closing in on the 2-minute mark before the launch this evening. And I'm getting excited because, like I say, I've been here quite a while, and I have been waiting for this moment as we get close to the actual countdown and liftoff. So at the 2-minute mark, you see those two arms surrounding the Ariane 5 in Kourou. They're called the bra. They're not actually holding the 780-ton rocket upright. That's gravity's job. The arms support the fuel lines, which are topping off the liquid propellants. We keep doing that till just before the launch, and then those arms will pull back. Well, they've been waiting a long time, too, and the VIPs are now heading out onto the balcony to watch the launch in the sundown here in Kourou, bathed in sunlight. It is going to be quite a show coming up in a minute, 20 seconds from right now. As the Ariane 5 gets set to go, they're going to be watching it from the balconies. That's 13 kilometers from the Ariane 5 launch site.
Attention pour moins une minute.
There's the announcement we've been waiting for.
Top H0 moins une minute.
We are under 1 minute to go. We welcome everybody from around the world watching the live webcast on Arianespace.com. Greetings to our friends watching at Airbus Defense and Space in Europe, EchoStar and Dish Network. Their headquarters in Inglewood, Colorado, PT Bank Rocket in Jakarta, SSL in Palo Alto, California, Kines and Arianespace in Paris. All of our industry partners all across Europe. Even my wife, who's waited so long for me to get back to Denver. Only moments to go, and we will hear the famous countdown in French from Kourou. Enjoy the show.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage des EAP, décollage. Les paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
for the history books, and in the memory of the late, great Muhammad Ali, the rumble in the Amazon jungle tonight is that mighty Ariane 5 ECA as she roars into the sky above Kourou. My 10th time that I've called a launch, takes my breath away every time. We're 57 seconds into the flight, Ariane 5 breaking the sound barrier here in Kourou, and the massive Jupiter facility beginning to shake right now as the launcher roars out over Devil's Island, made famous by the movie Papillon. 1,300 tons of thrust breaking the Ariane 5, free from the bonds of Earth's gravity. 90% of that power coming now from the two boosters, each one 31 meters tall, 100 feet. They're burning 240 tons of solid propellant in 2 minutes, more than 2 tons a second. When the boosters have done their job, and that'll be in less than a minute from now, Ariane will be 70 kilometers in the sky, traveling more than a mile a second, faster than a speeding bullet. And you can see on the bottom of the screen the numbers, pertinent numbers for tonight's launch. And that data being collected from Galliot, a tracking station on a big hill behind us here at Jupiter. Engineers there evaluating all the data in real time. 2:07 into the flight. The VIP's still on the patio, and they're waiting for the burnout and jettison of the twin solid rocket boosters coming up in about 3 seconds from right now. And you will be hearing the announcement of the separation of the EAPs, the boosters, and the boosters will have done their job. They will fall away, and we won't need them any longer. And that will be occurring. There you see the animation. We've now lost about 600 tons worth of weight. The mass of the launcher, 180 tons, and all that's gone in about 2 minutes. The lighter we get, the faster we go. The next major event will be the jettisoning of the fairing. We'll see that in a moment. It'll be gone in a few seconds. And it has protected the satellites on the ground, and in their early minutes of the flight into the sky. There you see the animation of the quaff, or the fairing going away. We just lost 2 more tons. There's some great video from an earlier mission showing what it looks like as that fairing drops away. And the launcher is now 118 kilometers above Earth. We're technically in space. We still have a long, long way to go, however. I call your attention to the animation. You see all the numbers on the bottom of the screen. And we also will be watching the desired flight path in a moment on the upper right-hand side of the screen. See that curve and the green dot? We want to follow that curve perfectly. That means our performance is nominal. More key officials at Jupiter, Bruno Gerard, the Vice President of Ariane Space responsible for the establishment here in French Guiana, Joël Donadel, the head of ESA's offices here in Kourou, and Bernard Chamoul, the head of CSG for Kines. The main cryogenic stage, or EPC, now burning. It burns for about 9 minutes. And the EPC is really just a huge fuel tank. It holds 150 tons liquid oxygen, 25 tons of liquid hydrogen. That engine gulping 320 kilograms, 700 pounds of fuel a second. That's 500 times more than a jet engine. You know, I have absolutely no idea what the fuel mileage is on the Ariane 5, but it is built for speed and power, and in that arena, who cares about fuel economy? It is a workhorse. And there you see that we're moving out over the Atlantic Ocean. You know, I live in Denver, and one of the questions I frequently get from people is, why do I come here to French Guiana for a rocket launch? Why do you come down here? Well, the space base is only 500 kilometers, 300 miles north of the equator. The Earth rotates faster at the equator than it does, say, at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Thus, the Ariane 5 gets a huge boost from the Earth's rotation. This allows satellite operators in many cases to launch heavier payloads, add more fuel to their birds, and increase their operational life. And that generates more revenue. Just one more reason that Ariane Space is the undisputed champion of the commercial satellite launch industry. Oh, and another question people ask, what about hurricanes? Well, I'm not a meteorologist, but the European Space Agency evaluated locations for the base. One thing they learned, hurricanes in the Western Hemisphere don't drop this low. Look at those pictures of the replay. Just 6 minutes, 28 seconds into flight as the Ariane 5 roared off the launch pad here in French Guiana. And, seeing it roar off the pad reminds me of one other thing. You can never say never, but French Guiana doesn't have earthquakes. So the only time the earth shakes down here is when that happens, which is one of the huge Ariane 5s or the Soyuz or the Vegas take to the sky from CSG. We are right on track at the 7-minute mark, and the rocket is currently 165 kilometers above the Earth. We're moving on out at great speed tonight. Final target 9.3 kilometers per second. And a few more interesting facts. EchoStar 18 and BRISAT represent the 533rd and 534th satellites to be launched by Ariane Space. They also are the 119th and 120th satellites to be placed into geostationary transfer orbit by the workhorse of the fleet. The Ariane 5 has been picked up by our tracking station in Natal, Brazil. Everything functioning perfectly right now. Tonight we're using 5 tracking stations. Here in Kourou, it's Gilat, up on a large hill just south of us here at the launch base. Natal in Brazil. Ascension Island in the mid-Atlantic. The west coast of Africa, we've got Libreville. And on the east coast of Africa, we have Melindi. Ariane sends data to those ground stations, and that tells us how the flight is progressing in real time. And one of the secrets behind the whole thing is the teams evaluate absolutely every aspect of the mission. And they share that with all the customers. And every single time we fly, this complex machine gets better and better. And the Ariane 5 ECA has definitely proven itself. Our next major event, the cutoff of the main stage, or the EPC. And there's
fin de la propulsion de l'étage principal cryotechnique.
Image and the announcement from the DDO. The main stage has now completed its job, and the upper stage has begun its mission. There you see images from a previous flight. You noticed the little flash of light there? Well, the ignition, just before ignition, small rockets on our side of the upper stage fired, and that allowed the upper stage to move away, and then we safely ignite its engine and continue on the journey. Of course, immediately we dumped off those small rockets because, again, the lighter rockets fly faster. And we will now burn the upper stage, or the ESC, for about 16 minutes. Time now to hear about EchoStar